Hello, and welcome to episode 6 of Gold Stars and Doom Piles. I'm glad you're here. Today, I want to talk about kind of the anti-morning routine because I know that so many of us have tried the morning routine and there's so many expectations around it. And because we are high functioning and high achievers, we love the gold stars. Whenever a template for something is laid out, we often think that that's the way to do it, that we think very, very black and white thinking. And when we deviate from it or edit it, we feel like we're not doing it right. And then that sends us right back into a shame spiral, feeling guilty, and then looking for that next planner app routine thing that will never fill the gap because we are imperfect humans and we need to plan for imperfection. So I want to walk you through a concept that I have every client do, which I call building bookends. The reason why I don't use like morning routine, evening routine is because those words feel very like full of failure for a lot of us. I had a client a couple weeks ago that was talking about she belonged to an organization that read the book The Miracle Morning, which if you haven't read it, essentially it gives you like there's an acronym called SAVERS and it has like a guide of like, oh, silence and journaling and affirmations and whatever else. And she was saying how she saw a lot of the leaders in this organization, they were like succeeding with it. They're like swearing by it, da, da, da. And she would go to try it every time, and every time would either avoid it and not do it, or would quote unquote fail. And I broke it down for her in session like this, that we as ADHDers, we want to do things right and we need structure, but we also need flexibility, which is again the dichotomy of ADHD in one sentence. So when we think about building bookends, the concept again, we always zoom out, right? So what's the purpose? Why are we doing this action? Why are we going to the gym or journaling or meal prepping or why are we doing this thing? It's because when you zoom out, you have a bigger goal. And for the bookends, the goal is to start your morning with less chaos and to end your evening with more calm. Okay. So we always keep our eyes on that. So when I'm giving you tangible examples of things that you could do to build your own bookends, I want you to be thinking about that, zooming out always. I'm not going to give you the step by step. I never will do that. That's what we create in one on one coaching. Anyone who gives you a step by step, if you have ADHD, you are going to struggle with it because, again, there's that thing of like perfection. And if you don't do it the exact way that it was written, that you're failing. Remember, all the rules are made up. Every rule is made up, every rule. And so, as we're creating these, I want you to start small. Again, we're not going 0 to 100. So, if you're like, Jen, I really want to get some morning bookends and have more calm in my morning, less chaos, great. And you're going to start small. So, we are not doing the whole like get up at 4:30 and drink the green smoothie and go for a 4 mile run and then journal 10 pages. Like, that's where we think we need to go. And honestly, in general, health stuff. So, it's really diet culture coded when it's like 10,000 steps and 190 grams of protein and X amount of water. Like, is some of that beneficial? Sure. But do we need to go to those extremes to feel our best? Often not. And that's where I really want you to trust yourself and remind yourself again, the rules are all made up. So, the purpose of building our bookends is to start the morning. We'll start with the morning one, right? So, starting the morning with more calm and less chaos. And so, the worst thing you can do, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I would say I highly would avoid going on your phone right away and going into anything that I call an input, which is like the thing that requests something out of you. So it's like, okay, you need to answer the email or respond to the kid right away, or you're responding on social media, anything where you're taking something in and it's not for you. I want you to try to avoid that for as long as you can in the morning. And this is often why, people will set an alarm to wake up earlier because what I don't want you to do is to wake up to your kid standing over your bed going, Mom, Mom, Mom. Because again, that sets you off in like, let's go mode right away. You need a little bit of time for yourself. And honest to God, a little bit of time could be 3 minutes. Truly, an intentional 3 minutes can really change the rest of your day. So, what I want you to think about is A, if you're a snoozer, if you are a person who grabs your phone right away, try to get the phone as far away as possible. So, put the phone to bed, could be across the room in a dresser charging, could be in the bathroom, could be in the kitchen. I highly recommend putting it next to something that then triggers the next habit. So, if you are someone that needs to take your vitamins right away and drink some water, put your alarm or your phone next to that. So, you attach that habit and it gets you again going, gets the momentum going. I had a client who also would go back to bed. So she would like get up, set the alarm off, and then go back to bed. So her first thing was to go and brush her teeth, take her vitamins, and then go make the bed immediately. The bed being made was enough of a barrier for her to not go back and get into the bed, right? It doesn't need to be anything big. So an example of that kind of like barrier mentality is when I was trying to ditch mindless eating at night, the habit that I started was right after bed, I wash my face, I floss my teeth, I brush. And when I do that, when something comes out, my kid or my husband are snacking, I am less tempted to join them because I'm like, well, I don't want to go brush my teeth again. That is enough of a barrier. So remember, this also works in the reverse. If you are not doing something, there may be a tiny barrier that you are not anticipating and you're downplaying, and that's the barrier that if you removed it, that would make the habit a lot easier. So we'll do a whole episode on kind of removing and adding barriers when you're trying to stop something or create a new habit. We'll do that maybe next episode. So with the morning bookends, your first goal is to get out of bed. And again, for me, so let me give you I'll give you my current morning routine. And it sounds very bougie, but I will give you the ADHD reasons why it works behind it. So my morning routine is I wake up during the school year, I wake up at 5:45 or 6 o'clock during the summer now. And right away, I will put my earbuds in and I have a shortcut set on my phone. So my alarm goes off 1 minute after my alarm. It opens the meditation app that I use. I use Insight Timer. And I then put on my red light mask and I meditate for 20 minutes. The reason why I can meditate is because I put on my red light mask. It like pins me to the bed. I can't walk around with it. I'm multitasking with two habits that I've wanted to start, which is better skincare and meditation. And I do that first thing in the morning. Okay. So for me, the bed is not a danger zone. I'm not a snoozer anymore. But for you, this may be a danger zone. So you may want to think, okay, maybe we get up and out of bed and then you go to the kitchen table or something like that, right? So I am not a morning snoozer. And then after that, I get up, I put on my workout clothes, which are already set out the night before, put on my sunscreen, and then I come out to the kitchen and I grab breakfast. I have pre-made breakfast. I have used the pre-packaged brand overnight oats for years. So I grab that breakfast, I make my pre-workout, and then when it's been nicer outside, I actually got this egg chair type thing outside. So I take my pre-workout, my breakfast, my journal, and I go and I sit in the egg chair. The egg chair brings me so much joy. And it's so much like I'm out in nature and like I get to hear birds and the kind of the neighborhood wake up, which is super fun. So then I'm sipping my pre-workout and I am journaling and then I go to my workout at 7:30. So that's kind of my morning. So I really give myself like an hour and a half before I have to like go out and like again be with people. And so that has worked for me because the pieces work. The reason why I work out consistently is because it aligns really well with my kids' school routine during the summer or during the school year so that I can like that she can go off to the bus and then I can, have time to finish my journaling, have my pre-workout, and then immediately go to class. It used to be that I would drop her off in elementary school and then from there it perfectly was time then to go to the 7:30 class, right? That's why it works for me. So we'll want to be thinking about why things are working or not working and where we can use as little willpower as possible. And I like the concept with, especially with the building the bookends, this concept of like energy and keeping the energy going. So the first goal, get up and out of bed, most likely for most of you. Some of you may follow my routine where it's like, okay, I can meditate in bed or I can journal in bed or whatever. And that's not a danger zone for going back to bed. If it's a danger zone, get up and out. If not, you can do some of these habits in your bedroom. So the whole thing is to fill your cup and kind of set yourself up for success for the day ahead. So if you're getting up out of bed, you're going to put your water, your vitamins right next to where your phone is when the alarm is going off. And then you're going to continue that habit. What happens next? What would feel good? Is it getting some stretching in? Is it going for a run? Is it walking the dog? Is it journaling? Is it reading? Is it tidying the house? Is it something that's for you that sets you up for success for the day? It might be picking out your clothes for the day. And so you can extend this routine as many steps as you would like. As you heard mine has kind of grown into, and journaling is honestly recent, like probably the last month or so. It's not something that I've done consistently. So it's something where I'm like, ooh, for whatever reason, I felt good to journal out my new egg chair. The new egg chair was the catalyst for me doing that, right? So we think about some of these like things that might be fun catalysts for us, and then we attach those to new habits. So as you were doing your morning routine, I can give you some more ideas. So one client of mine will set her alarm next to her coffee maker. And then she starts her coffee. And while her coffee is being brewed, she then drinks as much water as possible because she knows that later in the day she will forget about it and won't drink any water. And then while she's enjoying her coffee, that's when she makes her breakfast. So she likes to make eggs, add some spinach in there, and then have some toast. So, and she, again, the repetitiveness of food is really helpful for an ADHD brain as long as you don't kind of get the ick, right? So for me, I literally will start almost every single morning with the same breakfast. I don't do that with every single meal, but breakfast for me is just like done. Like I prep it all six at a time and I have them ready to go in the fridge. And it's just something that I don't have to think about, right? Where we try to automate the repeatable things. So anything that's repeatable and predictable in your life, we want to try to automate better. So that's a couple of the morning routines. Another client of mine, she shares the bed with her kid. So she gets up out of bed, and then gets the kid up right away. And then, because initially the struggle was that she wouldn't get out of bed, she'd get on her phone, she'd fall back asleep, the kid would still be sleeping, and then they would be late for their for school or for their daycare. And so the new routine that we've created for her is setting the alarm, getting up, getting the kid up right away. And again, her alarm is further away. It's not sitting right next to her bed. So she has to get up and out, wake up the kid, get the kid going on, getting her clothes on. And then the client is brushing her teeth, drinking some water, and then they get out the door. What she wanted to be adding in as well was some movement. The problem was the second she got home from dropping the kid off, if she went in the house, she was hosed, right? That couch just called her name, the bed called her name. So I said, okay, here's the deal. You're going to get home, you're going to park the car, and you're going to go for a walk. And she ended up bringing her dog with her. So she wanted to get more walks with the dog. And so the dog comes with her and her kid to school. And then when she gets home, she has the leash already there. Her shoes are already on, clothes are already on. So they park the car, they get out, they go for a walk. And that's becoming their new movement pattern. So that's another idea, right? So you can think about these things creatively about trying to attach habits to things that have to happen and things you already have as established habits for your morning bookends. Now, let's talk about the evening. So, the evening, I like to work in reverse. And so, think about what is your ideal bedtime. And then we keep things away from bedtime that are kind of those things that we can just get sucked into. So, that could be reading for you. That could be most likely social media, or that could be TV. Those are the most common three ones where it's like, okay, if I have a hard time controlling myself enough, I have to use a lot of willpower to shut it down to then start getting into bed. So we just think about these pieces of your day and we move them around and try to create as much space between bedtime and those kind of addictive things as possible. But then what goes in that space, right? So oftentimes things, so okay, let me slow down. So your bedtime goal might be, let's say 9:30. So your bedtime routine, what do you want to be doing, right? Do you want to be brushing, flossing, washing your face, putting on your clothes for the next day, maybe making your lunch for the next day, your breakfast for the next day, tidying up the house? Do you want to throw in a load of laundry? Do you want to whatever? So you're thinking about some of these things you want to do, and a lot of them can set you up for success the next day. So I think that the evening bookends really start the moment that you get home with those habits, especially if you have kids. So when your kids are walking in the door, what are they doing right away that's setting them up so the next morning they don't have to do that thing? That could be unpacking their lunches and then repacking their lunches. That could be putting their boots and their hats and their mittens in the winter in the same space. That could be, my kid comes home, she unpacks her backpack right away, we straighten it all out, and then she puts it back in, we charge her iPad, right? So there's certain habits where if my kid had come home from school and then sat on the couch and then had to get back up, that momentum wouldn't be there. So I want you to be thinking about that with your routines is when you get home, you're already in movement. How can you continue that movement in a positive way so that when you sit down and you have reading or you're on social media or you're watching TV, it's like you don't have to then get up and then do the things again, right? Because again, those are all magnetic and they're really hard to unstick from. So think about building those bookends from the moment you get home. Is it throwing in a load of laundry? Is it sitting down and journaling and looking at the next day ahead? What does that look like for you? Is it preparing meals right away? Is it going through kids' backpacks? Is it tidying the home? And then you kind of have this little like liminal in between space where it might be dinner, and then after dinner you kind of hang out and you sit down. And then I would recommend setting an alarm that you've already reverse engineered into your evening routine. So the first question is, what would you like to do right before bed? Is it just brushing, flossing, washing your teeth, or washing your teeth, brushing your teeth? That could be one. And very simple, right? Is it you want to journal a little bit because your mind's always racing and you want to journal a little bit before bed? Is it that you want to read a few chapters and the reading is not an addictive habit, right? It's not something where you're going to be, I can't stop and then I'm up until 1 in the morning, if that's how it works for you. So think about what are the things you want. Do you want to tidy your home? Or do you always wake up and the kitchen's chaos and all of that? Maybe you're spending some of that time tidying your house. Okay. So these are a few things you can add in after that kind of like down relaxation time. Or maybe it's out and about. Maybe again, you're doing kids' activities, or you have meetings in the evening and you're coming home. And so thinking about this time, this ripe time between bedtime and then reverse engineering into a productive routine. What I recommend, this is a lot, I'm throwing a lot at you. So the first thing, again, if we're just boiling it down, I want you to think about what are some activities you want to do in the morning that you can start doing in small ways. And then what are some activities and some setup for the next day that you can do in the evening? And then some wind down activities. Again, that could be journaling, could be stretching, could be meditating, could be whatever it is, right? Brushing your teeth, flossing, washing your face. So with that established, then you can start putting those pieces in. Now, when you start your morning routine, it's not going to work perfectly. And that, again, if you go back to the last episode, what I said 17 times, that is data, right? That is data. So why didn't it work? What got in the way? What made it harder? What would make it easier? And remember, we're not downplaying any small thing. It's not like, oh, I have to change from my sandals to my shoes, but I should be able to do it, but I just don't. It's like, no, 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 like you don't. So how do we figure out how to get you in your shoes right away? Right. And so think about these things that are holding you back as you try on your morning routine. And a lot of the time, it is not that the morning routine is incorrect. It's the fact that you are either dedicating too little or too much time to a specific task, and that task and that like thing that you're doing is in the wrong order. So think about it. If you want to journal, you want to stretch, you want to drink some water, you want to drink your coffee, you want to have your breakfast. If those are the five things you want to do in the morning, you may play around with the order of those until they click. It's not often that you're not, it's often not because you're not doing the right things. It's the things are in a different order. So try to shift it. Think about, okay, what if I did this first and then tried this next and then this next? That small shift helps you to not totally redo something or to say, oh, I'm a failure and I'm never going to get this down. And so think about it realistically. Think about reducing or adding more time to those things or thinking about the order of them, right? So this is going to be super individualized. I work on this really in depth in coaching because the more I see clients do really great evening bookends and they're setting themselves up for success. They are winding down properly. They are getting better sleep. They're waking up with a plan. They're waking up with some things done already. They're waking up to a clean house. They're waking up to all these things already prepared and planned. Then the mornings are a lot easier. And then that morning routine becomes even more solid. Right. So you can kind of see it's a chicken or an egg thing. If you're saying, hey, Jen, I just want to start with a morning or an evening thing, great. I would say, if you know, what would you recommend? I would recommend starting with evening because if you do that one correctly, it sets you up for a much more successful morning, right? Maybe meals are already prepped, the coffee's getting ready to brew, your water bottle's already full, your shoes are set out for your movement, your journal and pen are sitting on the table already. Any of these things you can do in the evening to set yourself up for success in the morning. I've given you a lot to think about. If you're like, hey, I love this, and I also know that I'm not going to do it on my own, that's where coaching comes in. A You Supported program is a 4-month one-on-one coaching program. You can find that information in the show notes here. There'll be a link there, as well as if you find me on social media, Coach Jen T. Johnson on Instagram and TikTok. It'll be in my bio there, and you can ask lots of questions. But this is a critical thing to do. It does not need to look like you think it does. And it can be as little as 2 to 3 minutes. It can make a difference. And then you can expand if you need to. And maybe, and most likely, you probably do not need to have the routines that your brain is telling you do. They most likely can be a lot more joyful, a lot shorter, a lot more intentional than you think that they have to do. So try it on, move them around, play with the length of them, play with the order of them. And just remember, it's all data. It's all data. If you are failing at it, you are not failing. You're just getting more data. You're asking the right questions, being graceful with yourself. And one day it'll click a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. All right. That's what I got for you today in the episode of Gold Stars and Doom Piles. Follow me on social media, Coach Jen T. Johnson. If you are clicking with this, you're liking the vibe, you're getting the information, you're like, hey, Jen, help me get there for myself. Definitely go to the link in the show notes about one-on-one coaching with You Supported or find me on social media, Coach Jen T. Johnson. All right. See you next episode.